And thanks for watching our Giving Day live stream here at the University of Mississippi. I do want to give you one update. We just learned that we have reached 2,000 gifts so far this Giving Day. That is such an exciting milestone. Let's keep it going. I mean, we might even hit 3,000 by the end of this hour. If you all do your part, we are so thankful for every gift. And we continue to talk to some special people here on campus to show you a little bit more about how your gifts impact everything that's happening here at Ole Miss, especially the students. And with us now is Lionel Mayton, who serves as the Assistant Vice Chancellor of Enrollment Management here at Ole Miss. Lionel, when I first said that during the break, I said, when I see enrollment management, y'all have a lot to manage. We got a lot going on here.
Absolutely.
But can you kind of describe your role, what the office does?
Yes.
A lot of good things in store. But we want to kick things off right. We want to first kick things off. We caught up with Chancellor Glenn Boyce, and he has a very exciting announcement to share with you to get Giving Day underway. Well, I'm so excited. Chancellor Boyce, thank you so much for joining us as we kick off Giving Day 2025 here at the University of Mississippi. Over the last 6 years, we both know that Giving Day has really become a collective just celebration of all the things happening here at the University of Mississippi, and it's really become an important part of the university. And so I just want to jump and start in right there. Can you kind of tell me and tell our viewers a little bit about, what makes this collective effort of Giving Day so crucial and so special for the university?
Well, one of the things it does is it gives us a sense of community, and it allows community to come together to do everything that they possibly can do to contribute to the transformation of our university. And the impact that they make as a community on our students and on our faculty and staff is so significant. And it allows them a place to, one day a year, come forward and say, hey, that place really is important to us, it's important to our state, but most of all, it's important to the students who attend there, and it allows them to show that.
Yes, and it really is exciting because that one day you just see, alumni come in, you see people who had students go here, you see just so many people contributing into there, and it really plays an important role here at the university. And we often hear you talk about how Ole Miss builds leaders. That's just something that we know that is a motto of yours, and we know that it happens here at the University of Mississippi. But we've seen a remarkable engagement from our youngest donors when it comes to our past Giving Days. And I've learned that Gen Z led the largest demographic of donors for the past 2 years. I was definitely blown away by that. But, what is their involvement, their investment in giving back to Ole Miss? What does that kind of mean to you? What does that say to you?
Well, what that says to me, and why, Marvis, I'm so excited about that is that, generally speaking, traditionally, it's hard to get the younger alumni involved. They're building careers, right? And they're raising families, and they're purchasing homes, and, they're fulfilling their dreams of life. And there's not a lot of discretionary money left after you do all that, especially in today's economy, in today's world. So I'm incredibly proud of the fact that they would give this, whatever discretionary money they may be able to give, and look at us first and go, yeah, my university gave me the talent, the skills, the intellectual knowledge I needed to get me where I am in life, and to truly appreciate that at such a young age. Because sometimes we start to appreciate that as we get older, and perhaps as the children have moved out or whatever else is happening in your life, and we begin to say, well, as we reflect on our years, where did I really gain all that knowledge? How did my career get launched, and why was I successful in my career? And then you begin to think about, should I pay back? Can I pay back? And do I have a heart to pay back? For us to see that happen with young people is really significant. And it says to me, which I'm very, very proud of them and very proud of what I'm about to say, that their experience at the University of Mississippi was recognized immediately, and they understand the value of it, and they understand the value of an Ole Miss education, and they want to see the next generation have that same experience.
Which is so exciting. I mean, to see Gen Z being invested in that, you know, even I found myself already being like those young folks. And so it's just exciting that it kind of just really takes that stereotype or that, you know, that next generation. No, they're taking initiative and really giving back, as you mentioned, paying it forward. And speaking of paying it forward, I kind of want to switch gears because I want to talk about the Ole Miss Opportunity Scholarship. I am just really excited about the opportunities it provides, but for our viewers who you maybe haven't heard of the Ole Miss Scholarship or you don't know exactly what it is, the Ole Miss Scholarship is just such an incredible program because it guarantees that eligible Mississippi resident students will receive financial support to cover a ton of things: the average cost of tuition, residence hall housing, and even an allowance for, you know, meals while they're at college. And so, Chancellor Boyce, I'm so excited about the Ole Miss Opportunity Scholarship, but you have some special news this Giving Day to share with us, and you have some news about an initiative to expand this scholarship.
I do have, and a couple years ago, we actually raised the limit from $35,000 for a family income, and a student would qualify to OMO to $40,000. Which increased the number of opportunities for students in Mississippi to come and pretty much receive a free education, something we're incredibly proud of at this university. But one of the things that was hindering this process, and I can deeply appreciate it as a first-gen student, was the fact that books are very expensive. And on average, about $1,200 a year, and can cost more or less depending on what curriculum and what field of study you're in. So in turn, we began to look at this and go, you know what? Because here's what happens, Marvis, and I'm speaking from experience here, okay?
Oh, yeah.
Generally speaking, if you have just got enough money to cover tuition, housing, and maybe your food, the last thing you're looking at is your books. And you oftentimes will take and say, no, I'm just not going to buy that book till I know I need it for sure, or I'm just not going to buy those course materials that I need right now. I'll find a study buddy or somebody that can help me, or I'll take good notes or things like that. But it really does put you behind immediately when you walk in that first day of class and you don't have the proper course materials or the proper textbooks. But I have to tell you that it's discretionary money for OMO students, and it's a decision that's hard for them. I know because I had to make those decisions through college. You know, as a guy that paid every penny of my own education, books, honestly, were the last piece to putting together or getting ready for a semester. So I can appreciate somebody who's coming from a place where they may not have the money to fund books. So we are putting together a Let's Book It fund. Okay, and for all of our donors out there that would like to contribute to a Let's Book It fund, it is I think, one of the key strategic initiatives that we need to bring forward this year as a university so that all of our OMO students can begin this semester not having to worry about books, focused on their studies.
Yes.
And we need them focused on their studies. That's where they need to start, and that's how their semesters need to start. And then they need all the proper course materials, because course materials in the world of technology are way different, as you well know, than they once were. And they're way different than when I came to school. You know, when I was here, it was all about the textbook, right? It was all about taking notes and so on. Now it's software programs, and now it's all these other technological pieces to course instruction that are as costly or much more costly than they were when I came here. Oh, yeah. So in turn, this is a very, very exciting initiative that I hope that our donor base will get behind.
I mean, the Let's Book It Fund really being able to cover and provide things for textbooks and materials. I mean, you think about photography majors or people who maybe need, as you mentioned, the software. It's not just the scientific calculator anymore. It's right. Really, you know, all of the iPads and things of the sort. And so really that can help a lot. And as you mentioned, they can focus on their studies. You know, you think of someone who maybe gets a scholarship, maybe has to also work full time on top of school. And so maybe that lightens the load, and people really donating to that can really help in a big way. So I think that's an exciting thing. And when I think about what I've read and learned about the Ole Miss Opportunity Scholarship, I mean, really, it has almost hit students in nearly every county in Mississippi. I think that speaks to the actual, for lack of better words, opportunity that it provides for students. And so I was going to ask you, what makes the scholarship particularly meaningful for our Mississippi students, but also for making this a better campus?
Well, and let me say this, and I don't have complete objective evidence of this, okay? So some of this is somewhat subjective, but I believe this. I do have enough experience to understand this. Our OMO students, when they come to us, okay, and they have that advantage of changing the trajectory of their life, all right, well, they're going to pay back, in most cases, Mississippi. And what I mean by that is they're going to do like I did. They're going to go back to their hometowns, or they're going to find opportunities in Mississippi. And candidly, most of them will stay here. And they will make their lives and their careers and their futures right here. They will become the next leaders of our communities, of our state. And so in turn, I can't help but feel like that if those students had the opportunity, and if they have the persistence and the will to get across that stage, get that degree in hand, they will make a better Mississippi. There is no question about it. And so in turn, I feel very strongly that this will strengthen our state, this program, and to give them the best fighting chance. Think about it. You're a freshman, you're coming to college, and you don't really know what to expect. College is different, okay? No matter how much you think you've experienced it, it's different. And when you come home from places like I did, where caring parents, but couldn't help me with college, didn't have any background, you know what you know in life, right? And so in turn, when that happens and these students get a head start, I tell you, they appreciate this university deeply, and they also appreciate the state they live in. And they will be the next generation that will move this state forward.
And I mean, that's just absolutely powerful of how important this new Let's Book It Fund is. I mean, to see this initiative be launched, and I know a lot of people are wanting to invest in Ole Miss, and they don't know where they maybe want to put their money, and they don't know where they want to put their investment. With a lot of philanthropic people in Mississippi and beyond. And so when I think about that, this Let's Book It Fund is an initiative that people can get in on early. I know a lot of people like to get in on things when it's at the beginning, but also something that you just mentioned, that tangible payback, that tangible impact of it, is that this really betters the Mississippi economy, and in turn the national economy, and in turn the global culture, and atmosphere that we're in. And so I think you really drove that home and really, I guess, kind of illustrated that through that. But I do want to mention one more thing about the Let's Book It Fund, or really about the Ole Miss Opportunity Scholarship. And you've mentioned this, but a lot of people students who have received this fund are first generation students.
Yes.
You are a first generation student. Some of these students, their parents have never gone to college, and so they're navigating a new norm, and they don't even know how to know what textbooks there are. Can you talk about how the importance of even how this Ole Miss Opportunity Scholarship kind of supports and fosters that atmosphere of adding first generation students here to the campus, and what makes first generation students an important part of campus?
You mentioned it earlier. Of the 82 counties, we have 70 of the 82 counties represented in OMO students. Okay.
That's amazing.
So it's a broad sector of our state. Okay. So obviously the word is out there, and we're trying to build the program to become much larger. And so ultimately, the biggest takeaway as we move on past this, the biggest takeaway is this, is it gives an opportunity to change the trajectory of a student's future. Because it is very, very challenging when you have to pay a full education cost, because education is so expensive today. And higher education is just really, really a tough financial pull. And I understand that. I recognize that. And if you have to do that on your own, and you don't have any place to turn when times get difficult and challenging, unfortunately, many times you walk away from higher education. And that's devastating. So for every child and every student who walks away because money drove them away, it wasn't because they didn't have the intellect, it wasn't because they even didn't have the persistence, but they didn't have the money. Well, candidly, just shame on us. And we need to keep fighting to make sure those students who have the persistence, the will, and the desire make their way across the stage.
I have to say no shame, though, because you all are we're offering this. And so I'm so excited. I mean, that is just so powerful. I mean, that wraps up. I mean, if people are wondering what is the Let's Book It Fund? Now you know, and now you know why it is so important
That's right.
that we're launching this 2025 Giving Day here at the University of Mississippi. Just a couple other things I wanted to talk about with you. I'm so excited to be speaking with you for Giving Day today. But you know, you've been launched a ton of initiatives and really fostered some that were already, you know, launched. And so that includes even this Grove Wellbeing Initiative. Can you just talk to me a little bit about the Grove Wellbeing Initiative and your vision for that here at campus?
Yeah, there's no question that in today's world, there needs to be additional attention, certainly, paid to the mental wellness that our students have. It's not the world that I grew up in, okay? And part of the reason it's not, candidly, is because we didn't have the technology at our fingertips that they do today. We didn't have the same technology issues, the same challenges, you know. I mean, when I grew up, I didn't even have a cell phone when I left for university, and when I finally did get one, it was a small little flip phone that couldn't do anything but make a call or two, you know, and half the time it didn't get that right. So, but the point I'm making is that our students live in a completely different world, and it's a complicated world, okay? And the difference is that the Grove Initiative is all about, the Wellness Initiative is all about supporting the mental wellness of our students. You know, I want our students to experience joy and happiness every single day at some moment in that day. And the truth of the matter is, Marvis, it's waiting for us. Mm-hmm. We just have to be looking for it, okay? And in turn, I also want, when they struggle, when times are difficult, when challenges become overburdening, I want them to have resources at this university where they know this university cares, that we're empathetic about them. And I want them to be able to find those resources easily and quickly and get the support they need if the challenges become very, very difficult. So in turn, what we've done is we have an initiative that we could talk for days about what we do at the university to help our students. And I encourage them all the time, get outside, walk, take somebody with you, socialize, right? Get outside, walk, talk, enjoy this beautiful campus. It is so glorious, especially this time of year, yes, when it's in full bloom. It's like life is being recreated again, which it does every April here. So get outside, get to all of our great workout centers, okay? Get yourself moving, get active, all right? And also, pay attention to yourself. We have Mindful Mondays, and the one thing that we did that I'm so very proud of, in our athletic program, our football program, our senior leadership group, our faculty, staff, students, everybody bought into this. We've had over 1,100 individuals at this university go through mental wellness, emergency medical training type thing. And what it is just an identification. You know, you're not a professional in it. You can't solve the issue, but you know where to send people who you identify as needing help, and you know where to get them help. Oh, yeah. You know, and we will continue that effort. And I would anticipate before the year is out, we will have who knows how many, 1,500 to 2,000 total trained on this campus. And my ASB, my students wanted it. Okay, so it was a statement when they said, Chancellor, we would like to have this experience. So this is the type of work we're doing, and anybody who has a heart for that work and would like to donate to that work, it's always welcomed, because we need to expand this work. It doesn't need to retract in any way. Okay, yeah. And this needs to continue to have resources put into it so that our students can have a wonderful opportunity to have great joy and happiness in their life, but also when it gets difficult and challenging and gets really, really challenging, things that they haven't experienced before, that they don't understand and can't wrap their minds around, well, we've got help for you.
Oh yeah, and you were just kind of speaking even to donors as far as them being able to make a difference. For people watching and saying, whether it be someone wanting to make a $10,000 gift or someone saying, I have $50 I want to give, can you talk to me about the specific tangible differences that people's gifts here on Giving Day make on our campus?
I can tell you this, Marvis, every gift, I don't care whether it's $5 or whether it's millions, matters. It all matters. And what matters where it starts to matter first, Marvis, and I want people to know this and how deeply I appreciate this. It's your resources, right? It's them. They don't have to give us a penny. And you don't have to have an empathetic heart. You don't have to have a heart for philanthropy, okay? But somebody who's willing to give to better a place, whether it's their community, whether it's their local schools, whether it's United Way, it doesn't matter to me. Is special. That's special. Because it says that they truly care about something that's bigger than themselves. That's what giving is about here, is that people give and donors give regardless of the size, and that says to me, they care about this place. They care about where we're headed, what we're doing. And so I'm just as proud of donors who give what they can as well as the donors who really have done amazing philanthropy gifts that I just shake my head at. I might just shake my head at. I mean, honestly, I shake my head at the Duff brothers, and I shake my head at John and Sandy Black, and shake my head at Jonathan Jones and people of this nature. And I just go, really? You're really going to do that? Wow. What an impact they have on the world.
Yes.
Because there's so many other things that they could do, and there's so many other places they could entrust with the significant investments they've made, yet they entrusted it to the university.
Yeah.
That's pretty special.
So special, and really as it leads to, like you mentioned, a better world. We're doing research here. We're, training the next politicians. We're doing a lot of things great here at Ole Miss, but I work here, you work here. I can say that, but for people to donate, and they're saying, we see you're doing great things, or we believe you're under good leadership doing that. And so I just want to end on a note of students. I mean, you've always talked about students when you're out, and you always, as you mentioned, even I've heard about you telling students, make sure you get outside and make sure you go on a walk or take a break. And you don't always hear that from leadership. And so really for students who are tuning in, sharing the live today, what would maybe be a word of advice to them for making the most of their time at Ole Miss?
Yes, and that's a great question, by the way. And I would tell students just a couple things. First, get completely involved in the university and make sure that you wrap yourself around the university and let the university do the same to you. There are so many opportunities to do so many things at this university. Don't pass up the opportunity to get involved in organizations and clubs and activities and events and sporting events and everything else. You want to experience the totality of the place. Let me tell you why. And you also want to join organizations because you're developing leaders here. That's what we do, and we need you to be a leader. So here's what happens. The way you learn leadership, okay, is you step out of your comfort zone and you join places and experience places that teach you different skill sets, different abilities, different conversations, and along the way, you just organically grow. And so that's first. The second thing that I would say to students that I think is just absolutely critical, continue to be a lifelong learner. You've heard the term, it's well worn out, I get it. But here's the thing about it, okay? Keep pursuing your education. Keep driving your qualifications forward, because your future, unlike mine, okay, is going to be totally predicated on the qualifications you put on a piece of paper, whether you can get in the interview room or not. And when you get in that interview room, okay, then you can use all the other organic things you learned at the university to win that position. But you can't get in the room without the proper qualifications. So I need you to go for advanced degrees, and it doesn't matter to me what your passion is. I just need you to have a passion for law, for medicine, for pharmacy, for an MBA, for, a massive education. I don't care, but I need you to go beyond a bachelor's. Now, some people might say, well, I had a bachelor's degree and I did just great, and that's true. That's very true, okay? But it's a different world. I'm thinking about their world, our students' world, 15 years from now. What is going to be required of them to get to the next level of leadership? It's going to be more than was required of me in my first 15 years of work, because everything changes. And all that we need on a job description are changing rapidly now. And the one thing, though, that is advancing quickly is we expect more out of every single position.
Yeah.
So you need to keep pursuing education, keep pursuing the knowledge, keep pursuing everything necessary to make sure that nobody ever can keep you out of that interview room.
Lifelong learning is so crucial. And Chancellor Boyce, I just thank you so much for your insight, because I know I am excited for Giving Day 2025. I think you have really set the tone, and you have really just illustrated how Giving Day can make a difference, how donations from anyone can really go a long way, whether that be to the new Let's Book It fund that really is going to supply these books and supplies for students, taking hardships off of them as they take the opportunity to learn more here, or whether that be a school that you graduated from, the School of Pharmacy or School of Journalism and New Media. You know, it really helps, as you mentioned, in any way. This new fund is very exciting, and I'm glad that we got to speak to it with you. I just want to ask, is there anything that I missed that you want to add before we wrap up today?
There's only one thing, and I want to make sure that everybody who is involved in this university, everybody, I want to tell them how privileged I feel to be here and how this university set the entire trajectory of my life and my career. And that the one thing I would say that I hope is as people think about giving on this special day, I hope that they will just think about what their passion is. And I always encourage them, give to your passion, give to your heart. Because when you give to your heart, you feel a sense of, I think, a sense of real love. And I think that matters. So I just hope that certainly that you will participate in Giving Day, but I also hope you'll take a little time and reflect on your passion, because I can assure you, whatever it is, we've got a place for you and your resources to make a difference here. And Emily and I just want to send our thanks to all of our alumni, to all of our family and friends, to all of our students, to everybody who works at this institution, for any participation you may feel driven to for this day. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Chancellor
you,
Boyce,
Marvis.
and I am excited. That was a perfect interview to speak with you today. We have much more in store this Giving Day 2025. Hey, welcome back. We continue our fun here for Giving Day 2025. It's day 2, and you all at home and at work or wherever you may be donating from today, you are stepping up. I wanted to give a quick update. We now have more than 2,500 donors that have participated in Giving Day. I told y'all we want to keep that number going up. My last update was 2,000. It wasn't too long ago. So we're so happy to see that 500 more gifts have come in, more than 500 more gifts since that last update. And it's all been thanks to a lot of you all learning more about campus, as we have special guests here. And now with us are Jordan Hamill, the Associate Director of Leadership and Engagement, and then Mackenzie Cox, Miss University. I know they waved. You may be able to tell who is Miss University up here, and it's not just by looks, it's probably the crown, because y'all both look beautiful today. Thank you so much. And Jordan, I just kind of want to start with you first. When we see a lot of the titles that come here, people are like, what does that mean? Can you kind of talk about your role here at the university, and then maybe even the connection to the Miss University program?
Yes, absolutely. So my role with the Miss University program, I like to say, started even before I was at the University of Mississippi. I grew up in Jackson, Mississippi, and every summer my family and I would go to Vicksburg, Mississippi, and watch the Miss Mississippi program happen there. And so I grew up watching the pageant, was always a really big believer in like what they do for women in the state of Mississippi, and had always been an observer. But when I came here to the University of Mississippi to get my master's degree, I had the amazing opportunity to stay and work full time. Moved into that associate director role eventually, and as part of my full-time job, I actually get the opportunity to work with the Miss University program and help students like Mackenzie in their journey of being Miss University. So I've been serving in that director role for about 6 years and loving every minute of it. It's truly one of my favorite pieces of my job.
And you're so great at it. I had the privilege this year to be one of the guest judges. Now, y'all know I don't know anything about the pageant world, but it was so great to see even what people don't see on stage when people are coming, the people that are participating, these beautiful women that are coming in and talking about their service, their research, all sorts of things going on, which is a perfect segue to speak with Mackenzie. Can you kind of introduce yourself to our audience? Tell us a little bit about where you are, where you're from, your major, and then maybe what pushed you to maybe check out the Miss University program.
Absolutely. So my name is Mackenzie Cox. I'm a junior here at the University of Mississippi studying public policy leadership and integrated marketing communications. My experience at Ole Miss has really prepared me as a leader, and I was looking for a way to make an impact on this university that's transformed my academic and personal trajectory. And I'd admired Miss Universities in previous years for the way that they just knew this community so deeply and were engaged in so many parts of campus. And I was eager to be a part of that. Thank you for helping make that possible this October. It's good to see you again.
It is so great to see you. Did so great. I know I came up to you like right after you were just crowned, and I'm like, I know I shouldn't even be talking to you, but you were so well spoken. But also, you talked about your research, and you're more than just a title of Miss University. You talk about your work in public policy and just all sorts of areas. So you talked about this just a moment ago about how Miss University and Ole Miss maybe have impacted you personally and professionally or academically. Can you kind of talk about kind of some of the fun things you've been able to do, some of the things you've been able to connect with as Miss University, even with alumni too?
Absolutely. To me, first and foremost, when I think of Miss University, I think of an opportunity, like I said, to so deeply engage with the Ole Miss community. And that's really been a blessing. I've worked on a lot of substantive issues around food policy and making sure that the people that live in the state of Mississippi have access to healthy and nutritious meals to live a better life. But I've also just gotten to do some really cool Ole Miss experiences made possible by Jordan's leadership and the people around us. That includes an on-field introduction at a football game, will always be a highlight for me as a student, appearing on SEC Network, getting involved with baseball. I'm a huge Ole Miss sports fan, so all of those things have been really memorable and just helped me enjoy my junior year here at the university.
And I know even our Miss Universities of past, Jordan, have gone on and even really been a huge competitor when it comes to Miss Mississippi and, just all sorts of things. So can you kind of tell me a little bit about maybe what some of the needs of your organization are right now and maybe how some of the people watching can help with that?
Yes.
Thanks for joining us for day 2 of Giving Day here at the University of Mississippi. It's been an exciting 2 days. We've had some wonderful guests stopping by to tell us a little bit about how your gifts make an impact here at the University of Mississippi. And so now with us we have Nancy Mariah Ballish, Chair and Professor of Music and Director of the Institute for the Arts. And we also have alongside her Benton Donahue, a student pursuing a bachelor's in music, which is just fantastic. We're going to be having all kinds of questions for the both of you. So, and I've been trying to dance all day. I've been telling Jordan I need to get my shoulders warmed up. But thank you both for being here. Bent and I have so many questions for you, but I want to start with Nancy Mariah. If you can kind of just walk us through for our viewers who maybe haven't or maybe even heard of it and aren't sure what it is, can you tell us a little bit about the Institute for the Arts, how it kind of contributes also to the cultural life of our community?
So the University of Mississippi Institute for the Arts was created to elevate and increase the reputation of the academic arts on our campus. That would be the departments of music, theater and film, and art history. Under that umbrella, there are various projects and initiatives that we have going on. One is a summer college program that we run for rising juniors and seniors in high school to come to the University of Mississippi and experience what it's like to be an arts major in the summer. We're very fortunate to have an incredible donor advocate for the arts who has provided funding that allows us to award incredible scholarships to students who are admitted into these tracks. We're able to offer Mississippi students full rides. So they can come here for the month of June. They get to see what it's like to be an arts major as that high school student. They're working with the major faculty and seeing, okay, how do I see what it's like to be this film major or to be this music major? So that's one initiative. We also run the University of Mississippi Medal for the Arts. It's the highest award bestowed to an artist or an arts advocate. We have produced it 3 times, and the 2025 Medal for the Arts will happen in the fall semester, so that's another thing that we do. And very exciting. I'm saying this for the first time publicly today,
news.
So brace yourself. I am so excited because
Yes.
something we've been working for is developing arts scholarships at the University of Mississippi. The University of Mississippi does a great job with academic awards.
Yes.
And I'm very happy to say that through the Provost Office, we now have arts scholarships that are being awarded by the Institute for the Arts. It starts going into the 25-26 academic year. 3 students from each of the academic arts departments, plus 1 student nominated from all the departments, are getting these incredible scholarships acknowledging their artistic excellence. So we are able to just have and support the biggest and best students coming to the University of Mississippi, like Benton Donahue.
Yeah.
So this is huge new news, and what's great about it is we have building blocks, right? So we're getting those prospective students on campus to experience, and then once they choose to come to us, we're continuing that support, which is so essential. And let me be clear, our art students are incredibly intellectual and smart. It's just that we don't want to only award through that academic lens.
Yeah.
It needs to also be through the artistic lens. So I'm just so excited about this and indebted to our leadership. We're fortunate to be at the University of Mississippi, where our leadership acknowledges, supports, and advocates for the arts. So in a large nutshell, that's what the Institute for the Arts is currently doing.
And you say that, but there's still stuff that we could have talked about. So that was still the nutshell. I totally understand it. I'm really excited about that. The scholarships that are arts focused. I mean, really, you understand being an artist, you need supplies. You need this just as much as you do for if you're doing research in another area of campus, an academic area of campus. And so it's huge.
Yes, and something I didn't say with the Institute, it's really putting this spotlight on the arts, how it has social, economical, and cultural impact.
Yeah.
And that's something that we must address and talk about. Yes, the arts do good, but they also, in terms of how we feel and how we understand one another, a great reflection on our society. But beyond that, we also are having profound economic impact, and we're putting a spotlight on that.
And it's so great to see y'all doing that. Benton, I want to go over to you. Obviously, you're a student in the program, a music student. Tell us a little bit about yourself, where you're from, your major, and maybe why you kind of decided to pursue this here at Ole Miss.
So I'm a music education major with a vocal emphasis. I'm from Madison, Mississippi. And so with my major, I'm primarily focused in the studio on like voice lessons, but then I'm also a pianist. And so I found like different ways of getting involved with collaborative piano within the community. I play for the Oxford Civic Chorus. And then when deciding to come here, there were several schools I visited, but to throw it back on her, I will never forget my first visit here. I walked in the front doors and we're trying to figure out where the practice rooms are so I can get in a few rehearsals before my audition. Boom, there she is, her big bubbly energy. And she's like, I can direct you right to the practice room. So I do give a lot of credit to her for why I decided to come here, but also just getting to meet with some of the faculty at my audition. Like it was very obvious how student-centered they were and like how much emphasis they put on our personal success as music students. So
it's a huge deal. I mean, I know when I was even doing college visits back in the day, I chose not to go to a university once because I was there to see someone and they said they were too busy. Yeah. And so, I mean, you weren't even looking for her and she came out, she's there, she's supporting you. And I think it speaks to all the things I've heard about the music, the arts, the theater, any sort of professor in that department. Just recently interviewed a musical theater major last week who just really was, speaking the greatness of what's happening on that part of campus with students. So I do want to ask you, that was during your audition to get in. Now you've been here. Can you kind of talk to the audience about how having the professors, having the academic rigor, having the support, how has it helped develop your skills to make you a competitive person after graduation?
So it's a lot of push for professional development, I think. Getting to work with her through the Living Music Resource and then other things that we work on. I mean, it's really pushing you to think past your undergraduate experiences. Like just recently we traveled to New York to interact with so many alumni who are now like flourishing in the music industry, and the fact that they went here and now they're doing amazing things that we also want to do is truly a big encouragement. And I mean, that starts in the studio with our professors. They're always pushing you to look past your undergraduate. Like just on Tuesday in my lesson, my voice teacher was talking about, well, we need to start looking at graduate programs and like the process that's involved with that. So they're all about living in the moment and preparing you as a musician, but also preparing you after your undergraduate experiences.
So important too when you're here, you know, you're hungry to learn. You want all the things you can get to put in your toolbox so that you are most prepared for the professional life. And I think it's so awesome. I might need a couple of those vocal lessons myself.
Come on over.
I was
And I want to add, I just want to praise, profusely our faculty. They are so invested in the students, and every student is really looked at as an individual. It's not a stock process, right? It's not cookie cutter, and that takes a lot of intentionality. It takes a lot of time, and they are obviously experts in their field, but for them to go above and beyond in that way is wonderful, and that is our culture. It's what's expected, and everyone steps up for it, and because of it, we are able to attract students like Benton and support them along the way, and then set them up for success in whatever that next chapter is going to be, what they imagine in their trajectory.
Oh yeah, and you were talking about setting up for success. I know we do have one Steinway here, and y'all are working on getting a second. So I want to talk about that because I really had to look into this of, what is this? Can you kind of describe how these incredible instruments, they help our students? You may even need to describe a little bit of what they are.
Totally. Well, first off, if you want to experience the Steinway Spirio at any point, come over to the music building. Happy to show you, even put together a special mini concert. But everyone is familiar with the name Steinway. Steinway is the piano manufacturer. It is truly probably one of the most, the American factory in the sense of all of the people who work within there and how everything is handmade. So fast forward, the technology we now have in our world, they have successfully incorporated tech with this instrument, and what it allows, it is a super high-tech player piano, but it's more than that. I'm just trying to put it in simple terms. But what happens is when the pianist plays it, it records how they have played it down to the touch. It collects 800 readings within a second. So the amount of intensity, all the things, then it plays it back.
Yeah.
So when it plays it back, you're getting the actual way that pianist played it. So if you sat down and played, do you play the piano?
I haven't taken lessons since I was 13, but I might have
We'll
something.
go with
deep down.
Happy Birthday by ear,
Yeah, I
right? So
think
if
I
you
can
play
crank that
Happy
out.
Birthday,
Yeah.
and then we record you, and then I play Happy Birthday,
Yeah.
and we record, it's going to be a distinct different sound by how we approach the piano. The way this is helpful, number one, it's the first time and first way that a pianist can actually play, step away, and hear how the instrument has responded to what the pianist has been doing. So first off, that's a game changer. Second, it is connected to a screen, so not only can you hear and watch how the keys and hammers are moving, you can see on a screen through the app and the software interface, you visually see how long and how intense all of your playing was. So you can analyze how you're handling things, if there's an error. Then, in addition to that, if I'm working, I'm a singer, I'm not a pianist. Let's say I'm working with a pianist, and I need to be able to practice, but that pianist is not available. The pianist can have pre-recorded, or we have worked together in recording it, and I can go back and practice with it. It really is high-end classroom tech of Rolls-Royce caliber, and we have our first Spirio. It is in our choir room, and it's in a space where, yes, the choir benefits from it, but all of our students in the music department who are taking studio applied lessons get to engage with this instrument because that's where we hold their final exam. We are aiming to get another Spirio, not a want, it's a need.
Yes,
and it will go in a space that is going to be more for rehearsal. The one in the choir room is rehearsal/performance. The other one will be straight up rehearsal. And then we're also raising funds for another concert grand that will not have the technology, and that one will be in Nutt Auditorium. It's important for a Department of Music to have appropriate instruments, and there's no other instrument that touches every facet of the department like a piano does. So it's very exciting, and we hope, well, thus far, we've met our Spradling challenge.
Oh, great. That's
Huge
great news.
shout out to the Spradlings, but keep it coming because we really need these 2 additional pianos.
Oh yeah, and I know we're getting close to having to get to our break. So Benton, I wanted to ask you, for donors, they may be asking, how has the music department impacted you? How has the Institute for the Arts? How has Ole Miss impacted you? Or why should I give this Giving Day? What would you say to someone who's like, I don't, is it going to impact?
I hate to keep putting emphasis on like postgraduate decisions, but I'm at the tail end of my junior year now, and so like that's truly where my mind is, and so. I mean, that's a daunting experience for some people thinking about grad school. And so I'm so appreciative towards faculty like Professor Balish and even my studio teacher for just the emphasis that they've put on preparing me for postgraduate life, because it's a big deal, and to have such good guidance is truly invaluable. So.
Yes, and they're giving them valuable experience. Can't wait to see all the wonderful things you do post-graduation and before graduation. And Professor Balish, we have a lot more coming up with you still. You can find more ways to give to this department, to the Institute. Just head over to givingday.olemiss.edu. We'll be right back after a quick break. We're going to hear from another student and continue our conversation with Professor Balish. Make sure that you are aware that we do take Venmo, Apple Pay, and all major credit cards. You'll find all that information on the website. We'll be right back. We are back here for Giving Day, Day 2 at the Student Union here on campus. We're joined with Nancy Mariah Balish. She's chair and professor of music and then director of the Institute for the Arts. And we also have another special student here with us, Lena Jung, and we are so excited. This whole thing really has been showing you all what this is about, how you can help students. So, Lena, I kind of want to start with you. Can you tell us a little bit about your major, who you are, where you're from, and why you chose Ole Miss?
Yes, so I'm from Fulton, Mississippi, which is not too far down the road, just an hour away. My major is music performance and violin, and currently I'm a junior. And the reason why I came to Ole Miss really is because of the people and just how encouraging all the professors are. And I still remember my first day at orientation. I was really shocked because I was like, I've never met people who are so welcoming and so excited to see you. So that's really the biggest reason why I came here. And of course, working with Professor Balish here, not just in the music department, but also in the Honors College, was so impactful because she came up with ideas which I never thought about and just, sparked some thinkings and stuff. And like my studio professor, Dr. Hong, she definitely was really impactful because she always pushes me to strive for the best, even though they were really hard stuff most of the time. So.
And also, sparking creativity is a huge deal.
Yes.
Being able to be, inspired and also encouraged. And we were talking before the break about how right now a need in the music department, in the department that you all are coming from, is that we need a new Steinway Spirio. There is one, but we talked about rehearsals or someone wanting to practice by themselves, choirs needing them. It can get hard to really have everyone's needs met with that. So that's one of the ways you can give and help out. And so, Lena, we heard from Nancy Mariah about exactly why we need it. But for you, can you tell me a little bit about your experience or what makes this so cool? I'm kind of a piano dummy.
So, I say one of the, I guess, most obvious aspects of it is how it plays by itself because of the technology behind it. And I think as a violinist or just instrumentalist or vocalist in general, we always use a piano for everything.
Yeah.
So, and especially if we want to have that one-to-one interaction with the piano itself, which a lot of the times I like to record my practices, which is very helpful. But sometimes you need a piano when you play because the music is not complete without the piano. So with the ability of the stereo to play by itself after being recorded with an actual person playing, you can just play back on it, and I could just record myself and then just feel the actual person there, even though he or she is not playing with
it's
me.
exactly how they played it.
Yes.
The emotion, the crescendo, all of the love and energy that they put into it. I
Yes.
think that's something that I didn't. I was like, oh, you want a piano that plays by itself? But no, it helps you rehearse, you get better. And I know Professor Balish was talking about that it can save. It has a library that is actually saving that accompaniment.
So it's really cool because some of the top performing artists in the world are Steinway artists, and they have recorded on the instrument, and Steinway has created a library. And so we can access that library. So when we are in the music building, we can experience said person the way they exactly played that piece in another concert hall in our space. Or they have even used technology and computer experts who have analyzed the recordings of deceased individuals, and you are experiencing how Bernstein, how Duke Ellington, whoever it may be, how they actually played the piano, and it's happening in front of you in real time. Also, they put on live stream concerts. So say said superstar who would cost $50,000 to get them to come here, they're playing in Paris.
Yeah.
We can be having it happen on our campus at the same time on this instrument. So the possibilities are just unbelievable. And that appeals to you, right?
Yes, it really does, because one of my all-time favorite pianists, Yuja Wong, please check her out, amazing. The first day when we did our spirit demonstration, I walked into the choir room and I just heard, I saw her on the screen playing, but then I heard the piano and I was like, that sounds very real. And then it is actually the piano, which for me, I would never imagine hearing her live.
Yeah.
But that really happened then.
It's almost a live stream via piano. The technology
You gotta come
is
over.
blowing my mind.
Come
I have
on.
to see this.
We'll do Happy Birthday as a duet.
Yes.
No, I'm kidding.
And I'm gonna need a little lessons, a little warm up there. But and I love just the fun and the excitement behind, specifically even the music department. I mean, there's just, when I've talked to students about they're never like, oh, I'm going to class. Like, I'm going to class, I'm excited. And so even I know recently this spring break, you and several students went on a pretty cool trip. Tell us a little bit about that.
So we had the opportunity to travel to New York City and do a concert in Steinway Hall. And this concert included Professor Park, who is a faculty member. It included Lena. It included Benton, who we talked to a moment ago, and it also included another student named Fred Hadley. This concert in Steinway Hall was the launch of another initiative that falls under the Institute for the Arts. We're calling it SIP in the City. And we will be traveling to various cities across the U.S. to connect with Ole Miss alumni to bring them up to speed on things that are happening within the academic arts. The first iteration of SIP in the City was in New York City. Steinway Hall, as I said, focus on music. The next one may be in Nashville or L.A., and it'll look at the other departments. But while we were there, in addition to the concert and engagement with alumni through SIP in the City, the students had the opportunity to tour Lincoln Center, to tour the Steinway factory where the pianos are made. We went to a Broadway show. We met up with two alumni, Jason Hendricks, who is a singer with the Metropolitan Opera, and we also met up with William Waldrop, who is a music director for Broadway shows and does a lot of work with Andrew Lloyd Webber's team. What did I leave out? What else did I leave out? We kept it booked and busy.
Booked and busy, but also experiential.
It is. It's experiential, and it's also an opportunity. What I told Lena beforehand was, this is an opportunity to really practice what a business trip is like. And because I didn't say we were traveling with the provost and the dean, and really opportunity for Lena and Benton and Fred to explore what opportunities there are out there in the professional world in a safe setting, in the sense that they're not having to do it alone. They're being mentored along the way, and we're specifically connecting them with our alumni who are currently success stories in the field, because we all know you have to have a community behind you. And I think that's something that we do really well here at the University of Mississippi, is being a supportive family, the student coming while here and then in that next venture. And that's another thing that's very important to me as a chair and as a director, that we're setting a network for our students.
And I do want to just kind of follow up on that, because I think that is a perfect Giving Day pivot here, is that, you know, you talked about travel, you talked about Broadway show, you talked about networking opportunities, you talked about building your brand in there. I guess for donors, for people, you know, again, considering where they want to give their gifts, how has Giving Day and supportive donors help you all fulfill the mission, or help you all even make sure that students are competitive? Because I know the arts are competitive, you know, when people are doing auditions.
Incredibly. The sponsorship, the gifts, the support from individuals through Giving Day has been transformative. I mean, I know that word's used a lot, but it really has been. And I want to be crystal clear that I'm very frugal is not the right word. What is the word? Always
You're
a good
budget conscious.
I'm budget conscious.
I like that.
And always a good steward of our funds. So, I mean, just to lay it out there, I mean, because of our relationship building and connections, I mean, being at Steinway Hall cost us nothing. So the money that then comes then directly goes to things that are for the students. So the support that we receive from individuals, it is really going directly to these experiences that are curated for the individual, that are really laying the groundwork for the next step. So please, if you want to know more about what we're doing, whether it's through the Department of Music, the Institute Living Music Resource, reach out to me directly. Happy to talk at any point. We always have something going on. Would love to host folks. And then I think it's also important, and this is happening through SIP in the City, for our supporters to get to know the students and get to know their stories. But I assure everyone, we are very budget, centered, responsible, and we're in all things truly student-centered and investing in their journey, because that's why we're here. That's why we're here. This is why we're doing.
That's why we are here, and that's why we are broadcasting live for Giving Day. We care about the students and student success.
Yes.
Well, Lena, Professor Balish, I am so happy that I got to do this interview and got to speak with you all. I know I need to check out in the fall, to check it back on these scholarship opportunities, but also I need to get over there and hear some concerts and things and get involved with the music department. It's been so great, and even the Institute for the Arts, the things that they're not just doing for campus, students aren't just doing for campus, but across the state. Is getting a little rowdy here in the student.
Well, they know we're
today.
talking about the
They're
arts.
Just hyped
excited.
Up for
They're
Giving
excited.
Day and hyped up for this interview. I thank you both so much for being here, and I want to thank you all for tuning in. Don't go anywhere. We have much more coming up, but don't forget givingday.olemiss.edu. You heard some great reasons and great ways to support students and this campus. We'll be right back.
Howdy, Chad.
We continue our exciting day here for Giving Day, Day 2 for 2025 at the University of Mississippi. So many great people have stopped by to really illustrate what your gifts do to energize our campus here at the University of Mississippi. And our next guest, we have Stephen Hawley, the Vice Chancellor of Administration and Finance, and a lot falls under that. So I always start with, can you kind of tell people a little bit of an overview of some of the programs you work with and, what that big title means?
Yeah, so the easiest way to state it, if it involves a budget, a building, a parking space, or people, it's my area.
Okay,
so it's all preparing so that we can have amazing experiences for our students.
We got to have our money right.
Yep, that's right. It does, always.
Well, I want to kind of start our interview by looking more big picture.
Sure.
You just talked about it. If it has a budget, it's going through your office. But why is private support so vital for our university and the impact that it really has, not just on students and families, but alumni and, I like to say, the world?
Yeah, it's a great question. So as long as there's been a university, there's been some combination of tuition paid by the student, monies offered by a state or federal government, and private support. It's just that great relationship that's always existed. because people believe in a lot of different things, their personal, interpersonal beliefs like faith, but also education is something that lifts people up in society. So it's always existed, and we're a welcome participant in that. But at the university, the most important thing is that private support, it signifies voice. So it gives someone an opportunity to speak with their dollars and say, we believe that something's happening in society right now that is important for the education institution, Ole Miss, to respond to. And it's so important that here's our monies and here's what we would like to see it used. Just very quickly, in the last 6 months, I spent a lot of time with an internationally known executive who's wanting to invest in a very specific program on our campus because he's seen the change in his marketplace and knows that we need to make adjustments to our program to pivot to that change. He wants to know, are we going to invest our time in changing the programming, and he's willing to offer that support. So it's really about voice of the supporter themselves to talk about what we need to look at in the form of changes.
That really brings our programs up to speed. I like to tell people all the time that, you know, that connection to the professional world of this is how things are changing, this is why the studies should be changing. So then students aren't learning any outdated, you know, systems, processes, you know, a lot of things have changed. When I help my nieces and cousins with their homework, I'm like, even math has changed a bit for grade school.
Every single year.
And it keeps our academic rigor very, very, very competitive. And so that academic excellence, though, it's no secret that lots of people want in on that. You know, we've really seen the great demand for the academic excellence at Ole Miss. And so I want to ask you, what makes our university so special? Why are so many people interested in having their students come here?
So the word I try to remember, this is the way my brain works, the smallest, least number of words, and it's the word and, A-N-D. So sometimes we call it the student experience, but when you talk to people and you ask them why they send their students here, their children here, their adults, they send their adults here, why students choose to come here, they always use the word and. So it's usually like this. Well, we really love the idea of game day, and the program that I want to go to is very important. Or they'll say, well, the teacher in a certain discipline I want to go to is really, really good, and I know you do internships, and I know you invest in food support and wellness, and you look at the complete student, and you have a service day, and it's very important for me to participate in community service. So there's never a time where you talk to someone about who loves Ole Miss that doesn't use the word and over and over again. So what we're really good at, I know we're the best at in the entire Southeastern Conference, is the and.
Dr. Holly, I might have to steal that.
You can have it.
People,
you can have it.
You know, I work in the marketing office. I interview a lot of students, faculty, staff, alumni, partners, you know, all sort donors. And they do, you know, oh, well, this and I'm like, can you say one thing that makes you this? Well, and
it's
so
always two or three.
That. Yes,
yeah.
That's so true here. And I mean, we've been hearing about that and I feel like all throughout the last the last 2 days. On day one of Giving Day, we really heard the Chancellor talk about the Let's Book It Fund. And we've heard the Division of Access, Opportunity and Community Engagement also talk about that. This fund really helping make sure that students have their textbooks, they have their supplies they need for our, again, up-to-date classes, which means you need the latest technology or latest supplies. Why is this Let's Book It Fund so vital to supporting student success at Ole Miss?
So two pieces to that. Again, I use the least number of words possible. The word I would use here is thrive. So in the state of Mississippi, which we are a public university, flagship university in the state of Mississippi, don't know if a lot of people realize this, but if you look at recent research over average salaries of what people earn in each state, Mississippi tends to be 49th or 50th. So current reports show that the average person here earns a certain level of income, and that means it's tougher for them to invest in all the things they need to invest in to get a good education. So there would have been a time we wouldn't have thought about books being an obstacle for someone to get a good education, but for many of our students, particularly those that come from the state of Mississippi, that book may be the difference between them making a decision to persist through college or pause for a period of time until they can accumulate funds. So we're about helping students thrive, and how we do that is eliminate all those obstacles. Yeah. And we realize, based on the Chancellor's guidance, Dr. Mead's guidance, and many others, is this is an area where we can help them thrive if we can help them eliminate that barrier. And we have people who are excited about that, who want to give their voice.
Yes.
They think it's important, and they're willing to give to that very specific cause. So for us, it's about helping our students achieving thriving.
Oh yeah, and I mean you can give to the Let's Book It Fund. That's one of the options you'll find on givingday.olemmiss.edu, and I think it's just so important. I mean, another thing to drive home even for the Let's Book It Fund is that it is supporting our residents of Mississippi.
Absolutely.
You have to be a Mississippi resident to qualify for the Ole Miss Opportunity Scholarship or the Let's Book It Fund. So such an important fund. You can find more information on the website about that. I want to pivot a little bit because I've been here for 1 year. I have seen the unveiling of new buildings and investment in new STEM building. I've seen, new centers be created. A lot of stuff is coming even more to life or expanding to meet needs. I guess for you, when you look at that remarkable investment and just the academic infrastructure of Ole Miss in general, what's the vision behind just making sure that Ole Miss, that Rebels are ready for their future? This campus is preparing them for their future.
Yeah, it's a fantastic question. So it'd be one thing if education was a static thing, that it never changed. But as you cited yourself, you working with some of your younger relatives, the math that we do today is not the math that we did 10 or 20 years ago, maybe even 5 years ago.
Not at all.
So what I love about education is we're always committed to understanding the things that will make a student and an adult better when they go out into the marketplace. So the education venue, the buildings themselves, the rooms themselves, the programming has to be adapting not to what's happening today, but what we think is going to happen 5 and 10 years from now. So it's very, very important that we're always thinking that way. So we have 2 things that we use. One, we use a long-term strategic master plan that says what are the things that we know that we're good at, the ands, and what are those experiences that we want to make sure always occur. Long-term plan that says that, but it's also flexible enough so that when people come to us, particularly our faculty who are out in their certain disciplines and say, look, education is always a thing for our university, but we see that there's a real need in early learning, specifically children with autism. We place funds in an early learning and autism center, which is currently underway.
Yes.
So that's an example of how a long-term plan coalesces with an adaptive response to what's happening in the world. We require the voice of our donors and our faculty and staff to tell us, here's what's changing and what's happening, and that allows us to make adjustments with our long-term planning, and you're seeing the results even in just this year.
I am, and it's not like you all are just coming in and bulldozing like we need to change this. You're listening,
Right.
You're hearing from students, stakeholders, faculty, staff, leaders. That's one of the things I fell in love when I accepted the job to come to Ole Miss, is that things are intentional, and again, it's a collective effort. And so really it's all about Giving Day these last 2 days. And so I want to just ask you, from your point of view, you see the budget, you are talking with the stakeholders and the donors, but for people who are giving 5, 10, 5 million, you never know today. What do you want donors to keep in mind as they're considering a gift, and how those gifts specifically impact student success?
So part of what I said earlier gets back to that voice. So we're not just looking for a dollar amount from you. We're looking for your voice to communicate to us what's the most important things that are happening in society as you see it, and asking us to invest in our students to make sure that they're ready for those changes in society. But the one thing that I would remind anyone is, it's not just $1 or $500 or